Shauna Young, PhD and traditional naturopath. She's the owner and medical director of Assertive Wellness Center, chief medical advisor of No Harm Foundation, and a published author. She was awarded the 2006-2007 Awards of Excellence from the Global Foundation for Integrative Medicine and knighted in 2008 into the International Sovereign Medical Order Knights Hospitaller. I probably said that.
Knights Hospitaller.
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 And here's Shauna.
Thank you, Amy. Woo, 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 woo. Thank you. Okay, you can take that. I got a head. Yeah. So, hello. Since there's so few of us today, why don't everybody calm down a little bit? We can all cozy up here and chat. As I said, I'm Shauna Young. I am a traditional naturopath, a PhD in natural sciences. And I have spent a long time, about 12 and a half years, talking to people one-on-one. So I like it better when you guys are down here so that I can see you. It'll help a lot. You know, I thought when Keith and Michelle asked me to do a welcome to paleo type thing at the end of paleo, I thought, that seems odd since everybody's leaving. But you know what it is? You guys, if you're new at all, then, you know, they just filled your head with like high fat, low carb and ketosis and lipoproteins and, you know, blah, 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 you know, all that stuff. And so what Keith and Michelle asked me to do is to try to simplify it back down for you guys, okay? And as I said, I've been in practice since 2001. There we go. It's a picture of me in my office just to prove it to you. This little sign on my computer, by the way, says I have 2 dinner choices: take it, leave it. So those are words to live by. Okay. I have, just to give a credit, I have over 6,500 clients. They have come from all 50 states and 12 other countries for my advice, and just to spend an hour with me, which I think is awfully nice of them. So that's my background, and so that's the reason that Keith and Michelle asked me to do this, because I have given this talk like thousands of times, you know, trying to make it simple, trying to spend 20 minutes just getting you guys started. But you know what? I want you guys to do me a favor before we get started here. Everybody's making all this noise out there, okay? So like when I go 1, 2, 3, I want everybody to go like, whoa, and like clap as loud as they can, okay? Just to blow their minds out there, okay? Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. Woo! You rock, you rock. Okay. See, now they're all going to be peeking in here and trying to figure out what we're doing in here. So, all right. One of the terms I'm sure that you've heard thrown around a lot is paleo primal, right? That's like a big thing. Okay, you know what the big difference is between paleo and primal? Cheese. So, uncomplication number 1. Okay, paleo is very, you know, what paleo and primal both are: get rid of the grains, get rid of the legumes. Okay. Now, strict paleo also wants you to get rid of the dairy. Okay. Now, I do suggest that you get rid of dairy for about 6 months. That's what I did. And even I love cheese. And so I eliminated dairy completely for about 6 months. And then I introduced it back in. And when I did, nothing happened. Thank you. Because I love cheese. But that was a good way of knowing of whether you did, because when you take foods out and then you reintroduce them, that's a really good indication as to whether you can eat them or not. Now, grass-fed has been like this huge thing for me, because on regular dairy, I can easily overdo it. But the grass-fed, I don't have anything, because when there's no inflammation in the animal, then there's no inflammation in the animal product. And so grass-fed has been huge. Now, if you live in a good area and you have a health food store, then you can do, you know, the grass-fed, and you can find that in the health food store. If you're not in a health food store, most grocery stores carry a brand that's called Kerrygold. Okay, and the Kerrygold is Irish cheese and butter, and even the butter is usually in the deli section, and those are grass-fed. So that's a really good way. You can usually get Kerrygold almost anywhere, but if you do any dairy at all, I do suggest that you limit your quantities. Not every day, not multiple times a day. Okay, but that's the big thing between paleo and primal. What you really want to do is just remember the most important things. You're going to stay off all grains, okay? You're going to stay off all the legumes. Now remember, your best friend is Google, okay? The number one, you know what the number one keyword search was on Google in 2013? It's paleo. So you can go on there and you can ask questions, you can find recipes. Just put the word paleo first before you start your Google search, like if you're looking for let's say pizza, something like that, right? You put paleo pizza recipe because then that takes all the grains out, okay? You can ask a direct question, is jicama paleo? You know, but go on there and say legumes, okay? And get yourself a list of what legumes are because there's some on there I would have considered. So be sure and go on and look at that. Those are the important things. Everything else you're going to want to just try to make good choices with. The real culprit is phytate. And that's what we're looking at with the grains and the legumes and those kinds of things. Phytate is the defense system of the grain. Okay? Anything that is alive has a biological imperative to stay alive. Okay? So the grain, alive, right? So it's alive, and its idea is that the deer comes and eats the grain, and then the grain goes through the deer undigested and drops a new plant. There it goes, the grain stays alive. The problem is that when you eat something that goes through your system undigested like that, it's going to leave behind a trail of fire. It's going to leave that inflammation behind, inflammation being the key to every illness that you do not want, or every condition that you do not want, okay? But there's also, in fact, almost every breakfast food. So you have to be really careful of the traditional American breakfast foods. But one of the big things that it does also with the inflammation, but it also, which a lot of people don't know, is it will actually bind your calcium, magnesium, zinc, and iron that you eat for the rest of the day. So if you're eating paleo and you're doing really great for lunch and dinner, but you had a slice of toast for breakfast or a bran muffin or something like that, you have essentially wiped out your calcium, magnesium, zinc, and iron for the rest of the day. Okay, there's a lot of people that talk about 80-20 paleo and stuff like that, but anytime you eat phytate, it's wiping out all of those minerals, and it doesn't matter how many supplements you take. Now, I've gotten to the point after almost 13 years where I can tell who's going to be successful and who's not going to be successful about 10 or 15 minutes after they walk in the room. It's all about your attitude. The people that are going to succeed, they look at the paleo, they look at the diet, and they go, ooh, I can have meat. I can eat butter. I can have bacon? Are you kidding me? This is awesome, you know? The people that are not going to make it are the ones that go immediately to the list and they go, oh, I can't eat bread. Oh, man. I mean, what am I going to do? I love Frosted Flakes. Oh, you know? They're not going to make it, okay? Because this is not a diet. This is a lifestyle. This is a diet you go on to lose weight or you go on to do something, but this is not that. This is a lifestyle. The main thing you have to say to yourself all the time is, this is how I eat now. This is not a diet. I'm not doing a paleo diet. I'm not doing this. People ask me all the time, you know, well, in what situations do you cheat? Why in the world would I want to do that? I mean, this is who I am. This is what I eat now. You know, if I'm at a party and somebody says, you want a piece of birthday cake? I'm like, oh, no, thanks. You know, and nobody's ever bothered me about that. You know, we go into restaurants all the time. We travel constantly. And we say to people, well, we don't eat grains or flours of any kind. And they go, oh, okay, so no breading. Gotcha. This is you now. This is not what you do for now. You need to really work out in your mind what a treat is. People tell me all the time that they took their children to McDonald's as a treat. Oh, great. So you decided to poison your child for your birthday. Awesome. You know, we have to get these things out of our heads of what constitutes a treat. A treat doesn't even have to be food. Maybe a treat is buying pants two sizes smaller. Or maybe a treat is for myself, like a manicure or pedicure or something like that, but trying to think about treats and what constitutes a treat. Again, those things that you used to eat, they don't belong in your life anymore. They are not you anymore. And instead of concentrate on what you can have instead of what you're missing, okay? Who would rather have bacon or corn chips? Yep, me too. I'm going for bacon. Yeah. So it's not what you're giving up. It's what you're getting, okay? I, for many years, followed a no blood type diet, and I'm a no blood type, which is real close to this. But it was all about, there were just certain things that I could not eat because they didn't sit well with me. But when I took all of the rice and all of the grains and all the things out of my diet, bingo. All of a sudden, I turned into a cast iron, tank here with my stomach. It's great. As long as you're not eating the things that cause inflammation, you can have whatever you want. That's the best trade-off in the world, if you ask me. Now, this is a question I've had to deal with a lot as a doctor. Why do people quit? Why in the world would you get on this and get going and lose weight and feel fantastic and then come back? And one of the reasons for that is what a lot of people call 80-20 paleo. And I just got to tell you, not a fan. For a lot of people, they say that constitutes either one cheat a day or like they're paleo Monday through Friday and then they eat whatever they want to on the weekends and that kind of stuff. This is not doing you any favors. It's not changing your mindset. It's not taking the inflammation out of your body. Now, for anybody that has gone 100% paleo, they know how great you feel. You don't ache, your sinuses feel great, you feel strong, you start putting on muscle, you get all these things going on that weren't going on before. But if you're doing that 20% cheat, you're not going to feel that. Because 80% working on it is not going to give you 80% results. It's going to give you about 40% result. And you're only going to feel that much better. And it's a heck of a lot easier to give up on it and to just say, oh, I don't know, why am I depriving myself? Why am I doing this to myself? I'm not getting any benefit. So think about that. The meal prep, huge. Got to plan ahead. You have to, sorry. That's the biggest change. Now, walking around out there is completely awesome because there's primal packs, there's, there's all this stuff now. There's all these to-go paleo foods, which there never was. But you do have to plan ahead. Another one as big as the kids aren't paleo. People come in and they say, I just fell off the wagon. I get really stressed out and I ate a whole bag of my kids' potato chips. And I'm like, what are your kids doing with potato chips? You're still you're doing this for yourself and you're getting all this benefit. Well, kids have to do that. No, they don't. Kids don't have to eat junk, okay? And speaking for myself, I grew up between farmers markets. I'm from California. And a treat for us was to literally pull an avocado off the tree and eat it, on the way walking home, or a pomegranate from my friend's tree or something like that. So I had a whole different concept of what treats mean. But again, kids got to do the same thing you're doing. But if you're not getting full benefit, then all you're feeling is deprivation. But if you get the full benefit, then you won't even want to go back. And that's really, really important. Now, as far as the confusion that's going on, potato here, I'm sure you've walked around the paleo sphere here for the last couple of days, and some of the people are like, oh, rice is fine. Oh, potatoes are great. They're a nutrient-dense food, okay? These are, to me, the questionable area: potatoes, rice, that kind of stuff. Now, again, it's the same thing for me as it was for me with the dairy. You have to take it out, see how you feel, put it back in, okay? And you'll be able to tell. The very first time I put potatoes or rice back into my body, I got instantly tired. Within about a half an hour, I could feel it. I was really tired. And I thought, that's it. I can eat a sweet potato and that's fine. I'm not sticking anything in my body. It makes me feel tired. It's just the wrong grade of gas. Now, you'll also hear things, like I said, high fat, low carb, 80-20, 60-20, 40-90, I don't know. There's a million terms out there, okay? What I tell you to do right now is get your sea legs underneath you, okay? If you are new, then do the basics. Cut out the grains, cut out the legumes, okay? Start there. Now, from there, a lot of people start doing what you'll see referred to as biohacking. You try to understand what works better for you. Again, speaking for myself, what worked really good for me is increasing the amount of calories I get from fat to about 50%. That's what worked for me. But I went to 30, I went to 40, I went to 50, I went to 60. What worked best for me was 50. But that's something that you have to track. I mean, I was wearing a thing, you know what I mean? I was doing like all the stuff trying to biohack and find out where it went. But I didn't even start that until I'd been paleo, and paleo was normal for me. See, I don't think of it as like, oh, what can I eat? You know, because I don't even think about the things I can't. It has become so much my life. And until eating paleo feels normal to you, I think you're really doing yourself a disservice by biohacking. Even if you're a weightlifter, I don't care. Get your sea legs underneath you first. So, summation, make good choices, okay? This is really, really important because I travel all the time. And nobody travels more than my boyfriend. He hundreds of thousands of miles a year on airlines, okay? And there's a way to stay paleo, okay? There is more to life than sandwiches. And one of the things that we do is we'll go like, you know, in the airport, you go into like the Mexican restaurant because you can get the lettuce with meat and double guacamole. Salsa, you know, all that cheese if you're eating it, all that kind of stuff. Now, is it grass-fed organic? Hell no, okay? But it is a better choice. Don't use the airport as an excuse to say, oh, I guess I just have to eat, you know, pizza, or I guess I just have to have a hamburger or something like that because there's nothing there. Yeah, there is. You know, you got to start using your head. Super strong words. I want everybody to learn these words right now. I want you to say them with me. No thanks. Okay? Nobody is going to get upset. People say to me all the time, well, I was at my Aunt Mabel's house, and it was Thanksgiving, and, you know, this pecan pie, and I'm just going to, you know what? No thanks. Aunt Mabel is not going to throw that pie in your face, and even if she does, that's her problem, not yours. Okay? You need to surround yourself with people. You know, it's so funny because we go places and people say, oh, that's right, you guys don't eat grains. Okay. And they're like making concessions for us. You know, it has never once been a problem. So learn those very important words. Now, the most important words that I'm going to tell you, there they are, right there. The most important thing that you can do for yourself on your new journey is to stop making excuses and start finding solutions, because they're a solution to everything. You know, if you have something that you are just craving, oh, I gotta have, what do? You go to Google, you put paleo, craving that I gotta have, recipe. It is that simple. It is so easy to do now. When I started paleo, you couldn't find anything. But now it is so simple and is so easy to do. So I want everybody to stop making excuses and start finding solutions. And as soon as you catch yourself trying to make an excuse, stop it. Okay? That's what Joe Dispenza always says. You don't like it? Stop it. Stop in your tracks. Find a solution. Okay? Thank you, guys.